We have one of our um, panelists and an old friend online, Sima Samar. Sima was the former Minister for Women's Affairs in Afghanistan, but also, let's not forget, the chair of the Afghanistan Independent Human Rights Commission. Sima, please welcome to this panel and to this audience who I know would be extremely interested in hearing what you think um, has happened to the rights landscape in particular. Um, the changes in the laws, the changes, in fact, there is no constitution. There was one. Rights were guaranteed for the first time, actually, in Afghanistan's history. You had legal advancements made. Um, Now, there has been quite obviously regression. How grave is the situation? How hopeful are you that there will be an opportunity to push back, to regain some of those lost legal rights in particular that gave women and girls protection? Seema, the floor is yours.
Salam and good afternoon to everyone. Samina, it's very nice to see you. I wish I was there to hug you after so long. And I start by saying that how much we miss Asma in the region and also in Pakistan, and how important is to continue her work and her dream in our region and in Pakistan as well. I think the issue of women's rights, I think the space for women's rights is shrinking everywhere in all the countries, but in different level, of course. In our case, I think it's not first time. It was the same, even worse in the first Taliban regime in Afghanistan. And this time, people were lobbying that they are changed. They are admitting that they made a mistake and they will not continue that kind of mistake. But it's difficult to say. Also, some people who really argue that the Taliban brought security in Afghanistan and they brought peace in Afghanistan, I have to say that it's not. We forget that the Taliban was the reason, were the reason for insecurity and for violation of human rights. So the security that they claim that they brought is kind of a graveyard security. So nobody should resist and nobody should raise their voice. There's we lost a lot of things, including the achievement on the institution that we made. As you know, you were in Afghanistan when I started the Ministry of Women's Affairs and then the Human Rights Commission. Both of them were start from scratch. I'm not saying that the Ministry of Women's Affairs were able to solve all the problem of Afghan women, but symbolically that was something really giving hope to women. And we were all hoping that it will promote democracy in Afghanistan and gender equality in the country. The truth is that we like it or not, if the half of the population doesn't have their rights and their access to health and education, that country is not going to have sustainable development and not going to have sustainable peace. There's no doubt on it. It's not something written and we dream about it. It's the reality of the life, and we have to accept that reality. So we lost those institutions. I mean, the Ministry of Women's Affairs, which is symbolically something hopeful for the women, and importantly, the Afghanistan Independent Human Rights Commission, which was one of the best institutions in the country. It's not I'm saying because I was the chairperson for 17 years. It's the truth. It's the acknowledgement by the international community in all the national institution of human rights, including your Human Rights Commission, which was established much younger than our commission. Then you could see that after so many years, it was first time in our history that we had equal rights for women and men in the Constitution, and the word woman was in the Constitution, and that is lost. Women were part of Loya Jirga. Women were part of the constitution making, drafting, and ratifying the constitution. All those are gone. And then also first time that we criminalized the domestic violence against women, and we had a law. Of course, we had some conservative people who used religion as a tool to restrict the rights of women in the country. It was not passed by the parliament, but it was first time, as I said, that we criminalized the domestic violence against women in Afghanistan. And then we had the special prosecutor office at the Attorney General office, and also with their branch in the different provinces that were dealing with the domestic violence and violence against women, for elimination of violence against women in the country. All of them are closed. All of them are closed. So the increase of poverty, the increase of lack of job opportunity, the increase of restriction on women's movement and ability to work, they were sent home practically. Only medical doctors are allowed, the staff are allowed to work, and also women who are teachers. We already had a shortage of health staff, female health staff. So the one who could leave, they already left the country. It's same for the teachers. So why how can we try to legalize or legitimize this kind of a government who practically wants to use the religion and tradition in Afghanistan and put chain on the hand and feet of women? How can we legitimize this? This is one issue that we all know that it is not in Islam. Everybody in Islam born with equal dignity, and they don't believe that. It is also in Islam, we all know that the first message to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was Iqra bismi rabbika allazi khalaq. That Iqra doesn't exist in Afghanistan, or exists up to 6th grade. So we all know that educated women can be a better Muslim, because we know how to read the Quran and how to see and use the religion for comfort of the society rather than for using it as a prison warden. So now the religion is kind of a prison warden for the people in Afghanistan. So that is something that will not stay in Afghanistan boundary wall. I'm sorry to say, but all our neighboring countries, including Pakistan, which unfortunately had some kind of a role by training these people, and they will see the backlash. And I hope that the women in Pakistan and the people who believe on human rights, universality of human rights, will stand against all these kind of repressive mentality and fight for equal rights for everyone, because it's not only for us. It's against our dignity. It's against human dignity. How can they explain? How can they legitimize who they are? This heroes are born from their mothers. So that is the truth. I don't know how talks and dialogue. I am in favor of dialogue. I don't want to, in any means, we should not start again an armed conflict in the country, although it is there. And I also believe on physics and science that when you have an action, you have reaction, because we saw during Khalqin Parchamis in Afghanistan, when they start to restrict people's rights, people started with stone and stick to fight against them. So they should learn from the history of the country, and they should not continue that. So far, they do not show any flexibility, I have to say. But I hope it will be enough pressure on them to to accept the reality in Afghanistan, not only for women, but also the other minorities. I have to say that there is systematic violence and massacre against the Hazaras in Afghanistan. Not only the Hazaras, Sufis were also the Sikh and Hindu that we had in Afghanistan. And if they claim that they are the state, they're responsible to protect. They, unfortunately, with their hatred kind of speeches through social media and during the Friday prayers or any other Jamaat when we have in Afghanistan, is really encouraging the attacks on minorities in the Shias. And that is also something that we have to really take in consideration, that a country cannot survive this way. So the people and the human rights of the people should be on top of the agenda. Of course, I keep saying that it's Afghanistan case is a collective failure of Afghan people, Afghan government, and the international community, including the regional powers, so the regional countries or neighboring countries, because it has an impact on all of us. So I stop here. Thank you. It's a lot to say. It's difficult to explain Afghanistan in 1 hour. So thank you so much.